The Smasher compressor by Pulsar Audio is free for a limited time, which is why I felt the urgency to make a video really quickly about it, in order to find out if it is any useful. Usually this plugin would cost €50 or dollar, but now it's free. Something 1176 compressor circuit, highly compressed sound, British compression, definition to transients, aggressive tone, ambience and drum basses. Doesn't work always, but when it does, it's cool. A video where real musicians use it. Demo sounds, the signal chain, which a lot of people who visit this site probably can read very well. Main features: perfect emulation of that hardware compressor, saturation, magnetic flux inductors, transistors, parallel compression, sidechain, low CPU. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. Even though I'm not too much of a fan of analog plugins, I would say if this all works correctly, then it could be a lot of fun. Look, they even have people who were paid to say something nice about it. So it must be a really good plugin, right? On the website it says full feature 14-day trial, which sounds like you can use it for 14 days and then it's not free anymore. But I found this plugin deal from Bedroom Producer's blog, where when you click on the link, it actually leads to Audio Deluxe instead of Pulsar directly, where it just says $0 in general. So I guess this sale is not from Pulsar, but from Audio Deluxe. I gotta say, it was extremely hard to install this plugin. I had to fill out a form so that I can have an account on Audio Deluxe. Then for some reason I had to fill out a form again when I wanted to purchase the plugin that had no cost. And then I got sent an email that has brought me to Pulsar's website, where I had to fill out a form again, and then I could download the plugin. Just let me sign up for a newsletter or some Alright, let's install it. Pace license support. Do I really need Pace for this little compressor? Oh, that sucks. Okay, I really had to license it with Pace, because otherwise it wouldn't work. You know, sometimes when a plugin is really big and fancy, I'm not mad about that, but this is just a small compressor. And the form was already so annoying. I can already see myself not installing this in the future when I have to reboot my computer for some reason. But okay, maybe I will reinstall it if it's great. The problem is now that I had to endure all of this licensing crap. This plugin must be so great that there is just no doubt that I will ever not install it. And that's just setting the bar very high for a little compressor that only has 2 knobs. But okay. I do like the interface. Well, let's try this. Okay, I gotta say, this thing smashes the sound really well. Wait, what? The output gain models the analog output stage. It can saturate. Hold shift to link with the input knob. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's see how that goes. Kind of confusing, because you would think that for saturation you have to change the input gain and not the output gain, but okay, the input gain controls the amount of saturation and compression. Yeah, I would expect the input to do these things. In a digital context, even with something that tries to emulate analog gear, I would expect the output gain to just enable me to A/B the stuff with dry and not do any other crazy stuff. But the compressor does sound pretty awesome, so maybe it's actually worth it. Let's mix it with the other layers. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. Now let's see if the quieter parts still work. Yeah, they do. That's a great compressor. Let's also use it on the bass line. I gotta say though, instead of making this a mechanic where you have to hold shift, which I usually like to have for sensitive drag, it would be cool if there was just a button that, you know, when it's enabled, it automatically compensates on the output gain without actually showing that on the output gain knob, so that the output gain knob can be used on top of that for changing the output gain. That would be cool, but yeah, not mad about that. Now let me try something. When I turn up the input gain a lot, and also the output gain, yeah, so this is not actually an output gain, but a wet gain, and that's nice. Finally, in some way you can say that analog gear is better than digital gear because they just put more thought into their stuff. A lot of plugins nowadays just have an output gain that is not a wet gain, and it just makes no sense at all. It makes no sense. But analog gear, they don't have this silly trend. They just have proper knobs. And that makes sense, because you cannot throw out analog gear rigorously every day like you can throw out plugins, especially now in times with ChatGPT and everything. You have to really think about your decisions before you can release something, because you have to actually build the thing 1,000 times. So it must be really good. And that's why they don't make mistakes like that. They make wet gains and not output gains, because that's how it has to be. Now, enough of the rant. Alright, enough of this plugin. I think you get the idea. It is a great plugin. It has a nice sound. It really lives up to its name. It smashes the fuck out of this drum set, and it also sounds pretty nice on the bass. Even though I would say this thing is definitely made for percussive material. However, would it also be worth the full price of €50? That's an interesting question in my opinion, because let's say you want to compare it with something like Presswerk. I don't know if it makes sense to compare that, because Presswerk is not, 100% meant to smash stuff. It's just really good at that. And it's also more expensive. But let's say you need a compressor. You need to buy some compressor. Your current compressor is not good. Maybe you're still stuck on the stock plugins of your DAW, and maybe that DAW is even Cubase or so. And then you need a new compressor. Would you get one for €50 that only has 2 knobs, but that just has a great sound just out of the box? Or would you get Presswerk, where you have a lot of knobs, but for, you have to pay twice the price, but then you get something where you can tweak so much that you will definitely always be happy when you put it on stuff, because there is always a setting that can work with Presswerk. What would you do? That's the question. I mean, I would always first go for Presswerk. Well, I already have Presswerk, so I will definitely not buy it again, But if I didn't have it already, I would personally definitely rather spend a little bit more for a compressor that I will really use on everything than get the Smasher for €50. But if you already have a bunch of compressors and you just want to have another compressor, and you want this compressor to be really easy to use, that you can just throw it on stuff and then immediately be able to say yeah or no, I think in that case, getting the Smasher, even if it was currently not for free, I guess it would be a nice option.